My name's Whittall and I'm the designer for Ozone. I'm here in Laventana to check out what's happening in the race scene and work with the boys a little bit and see if we can improve what we've got. The Edge now is a design that's been progressing for 5 seasons. 4 seasons, 5 seasons, and anyway it was just built as a performance machine so that we could get bigger air and that kind of thing and go faster in those days. Then racing came along, and of course because it had a high aspect it was quite good for racing, the initial kite, but since then we have honed it towards racing because of the likes of Adam and Johnny as well. And it's a combination kite, you know. It is great for big air, it's good for racing, and hopefully we can keep that going because it's nice to have it, rather than it being unique for one thing, it's nice that it has a dual personality. I think that it's especially important for us as a brand not to have too unique a kite at that end of the market, because it's already a small part of the market. So if it covers 2 bases, that's good. If those 2 bases are taken into consideration at the beginning of the development process, then there's no reason that the result can't be quite good for both. For sure, if we had more people racing, then maybe we could get into the scenario of making a designated race kite. But at the moment, you know, it just, there isn't the numbers there to make that really possible. What makes for a good race kite? Well, you're best asking Adam, really, or Johnny, because I can't actually tell you in terms of that, because they're the racers that, you know, they know what they want. We just happen to be giving them what they want. Obviously performance is a part of it, and in terms of that, water relaunch, that kind of thing is important, not only for racers, but it's important for the public, because kites that don't relaunch aren't much fun for anybody. So the relaunch is probably the main factor, but again, I think that's as important for racers as regular riders, so that's probably one of the biggest limiting factors, in fact. That's probably the all-round factor. The rest of it most people can deal with, you know, lots of power or having to work the kite, whether you're a pro rider or just having fun. I didn't realise that you could actually race in the winds of yesterday. You know, I haven't got hair, but people that did have hair, their hair wasn't even blowing. So, you know, it was so light, almost ridiculous. You know, I could not believe it. And there they are, ripping around the course, having good racing. So it is possible. Admittedly, in those conditions, you can't even expect to drop a kite and get it back up. You know, that's just a dream, because there was barely 4 knots, or maybe 6 at the most. But at 6 knots, nothing's coming off the water. So that's something you have to accept. At 10 knots, just about everything should relaunch. You know, watching it yesterday, I was absolutely astounded that that could happen. I really was amazed. In terms of design, there's not much we can do to make that better. But what can happen generally is a greater acceptance of race boards, and, you know, these longer fins and things. For sure, they might seem a little intimidating in the beginning, but that does open a world of riding that is not normally available. You know, in sub 8 knot riding, you know, there might be some manufacturers saying that you can do this, but it's hard work unless you've got that gear. A lot of the things they are telling me are going into the Edge, because that one is at the performance end of the market. You know, the criteria for every kite is pretty similar, whether it's at the top end or the bottom end. Everybody wants good handling, or at least as far as I know, everybody wants good handling. They want it to fly through the window, they don't want too much pressure on the bar, but they want enough. And whether that's a race kite or, you know, a beginner kite, that's pretty much the same spec. It's just the performance that you get out of the machine as well in between. So yeah, in terms of racing performance, I listen to them and I try and give them what they want, but yeah, that doesn't necessarily go everywhere. I think it does us, it brings us a lot of kudos, because obviously Adam, Johnny, they're great athletes and riders, whatever kites they're on, but it's, you know, it's a great pleasure for me that they're riding our kites, obviously, because they're great racers, they're taking our gear to the top. So I would imagine that within the market we're increasing our recognition, and that's fantastic. But I don't think people are necessarily going, oh, I'm buying an Edge because of that. But I think they might be recognizing the Ozone brand as actually a real a force to be to be reckoned with a little bit, because we are doing okay at the moment. But that can change as well. Yeah, maybe we pushed it slightly too hard as the race kite, but in fact, you know, there are so many people that are just enjoying it for big air and generally cruising, because it's a nice kite to fly. It's not difficult, it's not demanding, it's not technical. You know, it's pretty much just get on, sheet in, ride. Handling's okay. I'd like it to be better, but yeah, all around it's just a nice kite. It takes prototypes to get to the stage we're at. If somebody came to me saying, yeah, I'd like this, I'd like that, I'd like this, I'd have to say, well, you're going to need a lot of money, because I'm not going to get it right first time. You know, it's going to be it's a year's process to get, and it really is a year's process to try and make something better. And you know, if somebody came to me and said, shape me this, because this is what I want, like you do with a surf shaper, then they can maybe do that for you. But we're dealing with a lot of very, very difficult variables to tangibly break down and understand. So yeah, I couldn't do it. I mean, its role in the sport is very important, because there's no other part of kite surfing that can happen in 10 knots. So as a showcase sport, segment of the sport, it's brilliant. It's nice that there is actually clear winners. I don't particularly like sports that are judged, because you know, it's objective and subjective, objective, and I can't, you know, with the way this is going, you saw there was no entertainment happening. Racing happened, there was entertainment, everybody was watching, so it's fantastic, and I think in the future it's just going to get bigger and bigger.